kitchen. Here we are again. And I'm not hungry, but I feel like cooking. So I picked some lemons. I mean, everyone's seen a lemon. This came off a tree in my backyard 10 minutes ago. I grow these prize winning lemons. I think they're Maya lemons. They're astounding. I grow this beautiful Italian parsley in my garden. You could get dried parsley, it's fine. It doesn't taste as well. So tonight I didn't really want to cook a lot. So I figured I'm going to make gnocchi, which I have in a package because it's potato instead of my normal pasta. And this is an interesting one. It's an interesting brand. They don't advertise. They're not looking for an advertiser. Steamed potatoes, wheat flour, eggs, salt, sunflower oil, blah, blah, blah. You just boil them for 2 to 3 minutes. And actually, you don't boil these. That's why I like them. That's right. You don't boil these. You take them directly from the package into the pan, and then you put them into your favorite sauce that's hot. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to turn off the water. I'm going to turn on the pan. This is my favorite part, is to put the oil into the pan. I just love that part of the process. I don't go for like 2 tablespoons. How could you measure how much olive oil you use in a pan? Who came up with that? How could you actually measure that? Can you hear me now? I hope you can hear what I'm saying. Billy will call me. I gave him my home number. Billy Bernardoni, my producer. Karen's away. Billy's been with me a long time as well. Billy's with me. So I'm going to make an interesting dish tonight for me, just for fun. I may not even eat it. I maybe eat a little bit. And Billy, if you can't hear me or something's not right, call my home number and I'll pick up. If you don't call, I'll know it's fine because in a minute I'm going to get going. Now, I'm going to cook some shrimp tonight, which I've done before, but it's an interesting method tonight. I didn't defrost them. I'm going to cook them frozen. I learned a new technique, and I'm going to try it tonight. First, we're going to get that oil a little hot first. Then we're going to put some garlic in there. Release sulfur compound. Love this hammer. Judge Savage. Just get some of the garlic in there. Yeah, there you go. So that pan's getting ready for my Argentinian prawns. Lower heat. You don't want to burn them. Now, here's the trick. Let's see if it works. It may or may not work. You don't throw them directly into the hot oil because they'll splatter and the inside won't cook. You dip them first in the oil that you prepared. And I prepared my oil with some spices tonight. And we'll see how it comes out. It's an experiment for me. I told you, cooking's like a laboratory. Argentinian shrimp, they eat plankton, by the way. People say they're dirty creatures. I mean, what animal isn't dirty? That's why they're called animals. Most of them are cleaner than you are. I mean, than man is. That's what I meant. I don't want to insult anybody necessarily. So we're going to coat them in oil, right? There we go. And then we're going to put them with the oil on them, which will make sure that they cook internally as well. We'll see how it goes. Argentinian red shrimp go in the pan. And as soon as this starts to cook right, and I turn them, I put some spices in tonight. Cayenne pepper, crushed red pepper, paprika. Hold on a minute. I'll be right back. Gotta get something else. Here we are. Here's my real stuff I really love. There's a little basil and a little fresh organic oregano. I'm an oregano person. I have this since childhood. I don't know why. Even in Queens, when I was home, I would make little English muffin pizzas with my cousin. And I always loved oregano. I really don't know. I know why now. I know exactly why I like it. Health benefits and all. But I just love the flavor of oregano. So we're keeping it on a low thing. And once I get my sauce going in the shrimp, right? Now I'm going to put in my chicken apple sausage. And they say, what kind of mixture is that? I don't know. It looks good to me. I'm mixing the two together. I eat these about once a month. And the little bit of fat that'll come off them, I'm in the mood for tonight. I'm normally on a very low-fat diet. So in essence, this is going to be my sauce for the gnocchi, which are going to go right into that. Now, I probably should put some of my favorite red sauce in there because I know it's not enough sauce in there for this particular dish. You're going to need a little more liquid for those gnocchi to absorb. When should I put my oregano in? Anytime, it doesn't really matter. Okay, now these are starting to cook, so we're going to turn them. These red shrimp from Argentina are beautiful. They're not an endangered species. I try to avoid those that are perilous. Everything on the planet's endangered right now. But most importantly, Trump voters. We're the most endangered species on the planet. The psychopathic communists are on the rise. I don't know whether to believe the polls. Now she's claiming she's the underdog. So I think they rigged the polls so that she can play the underdog. You know, they're that clever. Never underestimate the Hollywood people behind her. Never. First, they were boasting about how far ahead she was. They raised $1 billion for this fraud. Now, all of a sudden, they say she's the underdog. That's the new game they're playing. Stupid they're not. No one has ever accused the left of being stupid. Karl Marx is not a stupid man. So here we are. It's cooking nicely. Actually looks good. I'll taste it. I may not eat it. I'll give it away. No, I won't give it away. But it's looking good. I should look. I'll just hold it up to the camera so you can see the mixture. I know you want to see it. That's a nice screenshot, Billy. Michael with the shrimp and sausage. And the sauce is getting ready. See, it's creating a liquid, obviously. Well, now that we got a little liquid going, it's time for me to put in my beautiful oregano. Just you peel them backwards on the stem. And that's the big deal. You know, everything's not that complicated. Each leaf, to me, is a miracle. I'm a man who loves nature, I'll be honest with you. I was going to do something else today. You know, I'm laying low before. There's a Jewish holiday coming up Saturday. I get very contemplative around this time of year. It's called Yom Kippur. It's a day of atonement. So, you know, what have I got to atone for? Who knows? Are you perfect? Because I'm not. And I've been tweeting a little bit, but I'm very reflective right now. As I said to you before, it's a very hard time in America. It's a nice weekend here in the Bay Area because it's the Blue Angels weekend, and they've been practicing today. When I look up and I see those planes flying in formation a few inches from each other's wings, I soar inside. I love it. Just love it. The only people who hated are the communists. There used to be a communist poet in the city. He was a friend of mine years ago, Ferlin Getty. And every time the Blue Angels would fly, like clockwork, he'd complain in the local paper, oh, why do they waste all that gasoline and the noise? It wakes us, it disturbs us in San Francisco, the noise of the Blue Angels. The people love them, Larry. Stop being a schmendrick, Larry. You fought in World War II in the Merchant Marine. Stop pretending you're anti-military because you're not. He's dead anyway. Talking to myself right now. Put in some onions. Gotta have the onions. Love my organic onions. Put them in. I like to keep them on the raw side. I'm sure there's not going to be enough liquid for this, for the gnocchi to go in there, because it has to go into a sauce that's hot in order for them to cook, right? You understand? I'm sure you do. So this is looking good. It's chicken apple sausage, not pork. Nothing against it. I just don't like killing pigs. My friend has a birthday party. Telling you, I love the guy. Colonel Dinshaw on. Colonel Dinshaw, happy birthday. May you have many more to come. He has it up in a farm there up in Sonoma on Saturday night. I don't like to kill a pig during the day. And you go there, there's a pig's head is there. I don't know, they're all military. They know how to kill things. I like to buy it in a package. And see, the onions are starting. It sounds good. It looks good, but the gnocchi are not going to cook. So what I'm going to do, because remember, this gnocchi has to go into a hot sauce with some water in it for it to cook properly. I forgot my basil. Some of them are still good to use. Basil is a health product, a health food unto itself. Oh, when I first moved to the Bay Area, I had a friend who used to swear by it, Jack. He was a fine printer. He used to like, his eyes would light up and say, "Oh, you got to try the basilico." And tell me all about the health benefits. Some don't like this basil. It's a little strong. These are already turning a little blackish. I'm trying to find the good leaves. I'm not going to use the others. If there are none, I'll buy more. Look, see? Still good, nice and green. It can overpower a dish, as helpful as it is. You know, this is the thing about cooking. You need a recipe sometimes, but you can use your intuition with cooking. How much basil do you like just tasting the food? That's your answer, how much you need. That's simple. You don't have to get a book out on it or a recipe. That's all. May as well go for broke on my oregano because I have enough left to worry about here. So I'm going to get my wine in a minute. I know that's what you're waiting for. I'm going to talk about the political zoo. If I do a new political zoo. Years ago, okay, now, see this? I'm going to bring up to the camera. This is about the point where it's cooking. Now you got something cooking. Blue Angels. I'm going to go out Sunday with my friend Skip on his boat to watch the Blue Angels fly off Angel Island. Off Alcatraz. Just love it. See these young men in their flying machines. How we can still produce men who have the brains and the guts to fly a jet plane in this society with all the fat dykes running the military. I don't know. I'm saying it like it is. You don't like it, please turn the channel off if you find it offensive. Why do you think they can't recruit people anymore? Who wants to answer to a fat dyke? Did you see what happened the other day? Am I getting too loud? Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not a sexual thing. Most of them in the military are totally incompetent. They were put there because they were of a certain sexual orientation. If they were great pilots, fine, let them fly. So I was watching the news, found in New Zealand the other day, a ship goes onto a reef off Samoa, the New Zealand Navy, the Royal Navy of New Zealand. It goes off a reef, hits a reef, a charting ship, a ship that's made to chart the ocean bottom, run by a radical lesbian who looks like your local librarian, who should be on a Schwinn bicycle with a straw basket. She steers the ship in shallow water onto a reef. But the ship, how could a ship catch fire, founder, and sink? Well, I never heard of it. If you go onto it sank. So the Board of Inquiry in New Zealand is going to find out why it happened. Why? How about the captain wasn't equipped to be a captain? But all the women on the board are, okay, you get it? The librarians are all on the Naval Inquiry Board. So they'll say the ship was defective because it was built in the Trump shipyards. That's what happened. That's why the ship went down. Donald Trump shipyards built his ship and they set it up to sink. Okay, so here's my dish thus far. Very aromatic. Now I'm going to ruin it with some red sauce. To me, there's no such thing as too much lycopene. Now I got to get the sauce hot before I put the gnocchi in. I'll go back to my basic red sauce. I could eat red sauce with red sauce. I just love this stuff. Now, if it gets hot enough, I'll put the gnocchi in. And then I'm going to drink some wine with you. And then I'm going to open up my book, The Political Zoo, from many years ago. And I am going to give you some new ideas that I have, some new additions to the Political Zoo. See, now it starts to look like a dish. To me, red sauce is food. I'll eat a little tonight. I'll eat some for lunch tomorrow. That's all. Big deal. Instead of going to some crappy restaurant with some garbage. What the hell they put in it. Okay, so that's looking nice. I'm going to put in the gnocchi. Now, they say to add water, and I've done it many times by adding water. It's never good. It comes out watery. I mean, I don't know why. They say add it to your favorite sauce that's cooking and cook for 2 minutes or whatever. and then add water. I don't know what the hell the water does because it just makes it mushy and watery. I'll put maybe a teaspoon, a couple of tablespoons in, you know. It's a beautiful product that they make. This one comes from Italy. I love potato. Potato's another one of my go-to foods. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Mama Emma Gnocchi, only natural or GMO-free, cooks in a pan, no need for boiling water. It's a nice product what they make today. The people are so inventive and creative in the world. People who have a streak of capitalism, and then you think this could be produced in a communist nation? Let me ask you something. What has Cuba produced in the last 70 years other than death, destruction, and torture? Tell me what North Korea has produced since the gangster took it over from his father and his grandfather. Nothing. You know, you people are so stupid, you left-wingers. You want a difference between capitalism and communism? Go to North Korea and South Korea. North Korea, communists, they produce nothing. They kill people. They shoot people who disagree with the government. In other words, Hillary Clinton wants all disinformation stopped. She'd shoot you if she could. Absolutely. Her and John Kerry. Are you joking? That's their latest shtick. If they disagree with you, you're disseminating disinformation. So what's the next step if it's disinformation? You're a dissident. You should be punished. That's what you're going to vote for? North Korea, communist. South Korea, capitalist. South Korea, booming economy. People are free. They produce TVs. They produce cars. Capitalism. Stupid. The children don't know any better. They go to NYU. They come back like morons. Brainwashed zombies. Now, here's my saucy thing so far. Truthfully, for me, it's enough sauce. But these gnocchi are not going to actually cook just like that because they do need a little bit of moisture in there. Yeah. I will compromise. Put some liquid in. We're set on that. Maybe I'm going to add some red bell pepper to the edges. They cook slowly, but I didn't want to overpower it with red bell pepper. But I'm adding for nutrients, for flavor, for looks. They're beautiful. Very rich in vitamin B6. And by the way, Argentinian red prawns are particularly rich in iodine, I have read recently. I don't cook with salt, so I need my iodine. My poor thyroid's screaming for iodine. It's a nice dish. Cooking, the gnocchi you're cooking. It might really work. It's an experiment tonight. So this I picked in the garden a little earlier. Beautiful parsley, Italian parsley. I've been growing it for years. It's a pain in the neck to pull them off, you know, otherwise you get the stems. You can pull them out later, the stems. It's like, you know, get stuck, but they're beautiful. Sometimes I love to just eat them. Just great stuff. Nature. I don't know how nature goes on with what man has done to this earth. The exploitation of the land and the water and the animals. Thank God for conservationists like Teddy Roosevelt, who gave us one of our first national parks. That's right, Teddy Roosevelt. Storm and Teddy, Republican, gave us our first national park because they were ripping everything down, killing the trees, killing the animals. He says, heck, you can't do it. This is future generations. Now, in case you don't know it, I have created my after media life already with God Talks. Look at this. I don't know if you could see it. I don't want to burn my hands here. Looking good? I know you'd like some. See the steam coming off? You could smell it, right? Now, what's missing for me is a glass of vino. I'm going to put a cover on this now and let it steam, believe it or not. It's a little different than what any recipe would call for. But since I'm trying to get the gnocchi to absorb the moisture, and I don't want to put in any more sauce, the only thing I want to add is a little more oil. Never too much. Beautiful extra virgin olive oil. I don't trust it from Italy. I prefer California. They're under much stricter rules. I'm going to lower the heat now. I'm going to let it cook very little. Open my wine, and then I'm going to tell you something else in a minute, if you don't mind. Welcome to my kitchen. I keep shifting around my white wines. People say, why don't you drink red wine? In cold weather, I start drinking red wine. Otherwise, I get a smashing migraine headache from the red wine at this time of year. It changed, but the weather here in the Bay Area is astoundingly crazy. For 4 days, it was like Florida. You couldn't breathe outside like an oven. Then you wake up today, you needed a sweatshirt. I like the sweatshirt weather better. As I say, it's going to be a great weekend, God willing. I'm going to go to the Blue Angels on Sunday, my friend Skip's boat, and watch the flyboys fly overhead. I cheer them up as they go by. They don't see me, I cheer for them. Makes me proud to be an American. That we can still produce young men who can fly those planes. It's astounding that they can overcome all of the lies about how evil they are and how bad whites are and how evil America is, and still go into the Air Force or the Navy and still learn to fly despite the harassment and bullying they get from the dykes. I know you don't want to hear it, so pardon me if you don't want to hear it. Okay, and now I'm drinking a Saint-Sucre Sauvignon Blanc. I switched it back to this. I used to drink it years ago. I loved it. And then started to taste like battery acid to me. My tastes keep changing. Hey, Billy, how's it going? Call my landline. You know the number, 415. Billy's not calling, so I assume you can hear me. I'm actually going to turn this off now and let it just sit there on the heat. And that dish is done. But I'm just beginning. So let's do this. Let's have a drink to the American flyboys, Navy, Air Force, Navy, soldiers, Marines. Let us salute all of those rescuing those injured in these two storms, despite all of the failures of the Biden-Harris regime, who gave away all the money to illegal aliens, and there's nothing left for helping the people. They'll lie and tell you otherwise. They'll call it disinformation. They said the other day there's no money left. They gave it all to the illegal scumbags who they brought in to vote for the fraud. Unbelievable to me. All the money from FEMA, the extra money, went to the bums who are living in $400 a night hotel rooms. How is this possible? What country can survive their fools and their thieves? None. It's pretty good wine. They change it, you know. I'll tell you why I like this particular wine. There's a lot of them in California that I don't like. I found out that this is a cheaper version of another wine they make. This one is stainless steel, aged in stainless steel, not in oak. When wine is aged in oak, it develops a component that causes great headaches, malolactic acid. When it is aged in steel, in steel barrels, it does not produce as much malic acid, which explains why you might get a headache from one wine and not from another, if you're sensitive to components in wine. So, I mean, we know that Chianti wine will cause a smashing migraine in most people, except Italians from the old world, I guess. I don't know. They could drink anything. Who knows, the old guys? They didn't know what they were drinking. All I know is they drank till their mental pain went away. They didn't care what happened the next day. They got up and they had a coffee, and then they started drinking again. I am watching a show on TV I'm obsessed with. I've been binge watching it now for 2 weeks on and off. It's so good. I ordered the 3 novels that she wrote. Elena Ferrante, my brilliant friend. Have you seen that? I've never seen anything like this. It's like watching a Dickens novel come alive. And of course, it's Italian. I say, of course, because Elena Ferrante. Now, the author, it's interesting, may be a fictional name. They don't know who the actual author is. They can't find her. And they made 4 seasons of television about it. It's about 2 girls in Naples who grew up poor together. One is a dark, slim, sullen girl. The other girl is a very slight, blondish type of girl. And they're kids, poor kids. in the gutter, poor neighborhood, in what you would call a hood today. Looks like the Bronx to me, like I grew up in. But the kids are happy. They play in the streets. They all know each other. The families all know each other. In that neighborhood, as it's created, the men are in the streets. They're talking to each other, sitting at tables. Nobody would dare hurt a child to get killed. Nobody would think of it. Anyone looked at a child, they'd kill them. It was a different world. Every man knew every child, every mother and man, and they knew who was in the windows. It was just like the Bronx. So the story emerges in this, My Brilliant Friend. The two girls grow up together and they take a divergent path, even though they both fall in love with the same con man, a poet's son, who stoops both of them and lies to both of them. He's a real son of a, you know what. And as it emerges, the brilliant friend becomes a brilliant writer, a best-selling author. The other girl goes through a few husbands. It's so well done. I never saw anything like. There's a wedding scene on the Amalfi Coast where the beautiful dark-haired skinny one. Have you seen this thing, My Beautiful Friend? I can't stop talking about it. First of all, this series outdoes Coppola. It outdoes The Godfather. It outdoes almost certainly it outdoes The Sopranos in almost every scene in terms of the subtlety of the use of language and of the interaction between people. The human interaction, no one has ever touched anything like this. The director, I don't know who it is, one of the producers is De Laurentiis' son, who does amazingly great work in Italy. It's a totally Italian RAI production. You have to try to find it. I watch it on HBO Max. What a production. So as the story emerges, the one, my brilliant friend, she becomes a writer, famous writer. The other one hangs out with sort of a gangster guy who whatever, she falls on hard times and winds up working in a sausage factory. She's stunningly attractive, but a bitch like you can't believe. Mean to all the men, treats them like shit, and the men run after her. Sound familiar? As it turns out, she plays her cards a little too, close to the chest. She loses everything. She winds up in a sausage factory, and the brilliant friend comes back. She's already had a bestseller, and how they talk, and meet all the other friends in the sausage factory. And then as it emerges, and this is Italy, by the way, in the 70s and 80s, when it's going through a social upheaval. The background is the communists, the killing of Moro, the prime minister. I mean, it's astounding if you knew what went on in Europe at the time, where the communists are taking over. And most of the people behind the communist movement were the rich people in the salons. If you watch that too, how it goes on. It's the language. So I don't want to go on and on about it. Just try to catch it. My Brilliant Friend. So there's a scene I saw last night. I don't know if it's season 2 or 3, that I thought was one of the best scenes I have ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything like this done in television or the movies. Never. Coppola can't find anyone to write like this. Nobody in America could even do this. I doubt they have an actress who could even act like this. So the brilliant friend is a writer, trying to be a writer, and she's trying to get into a university. She's top in her class in high school. So she's going before a group of older professors to pass their oral exams. I mean, they do it in the old school way. They ask her about ancient poets in Latin. The language and the knowledge is astounding. What they had to know in Italy at that time to even pass high school compared to the garbage stupidity that they learn here in America. Here they learn how to wipe their behind. They get a PhD in wiping their behind, and they teach at Harvard or NYU. I never saw anything like it. So she's there before the board of these older, distinguished professors, and they all talk quietly. There's no yelling. There's no bafangu screaming in this scene, as there are in many of the other scenes. The other scenes are great with the poor family screaming at each other. I'll cut your throat. I'll kill you, to each other. They don't mean it. Well, bafangu, they say to each other. The mother to the son. Just like in the Bronx or in Brooklyn or Staten Island in the old days. So anyway, she's before the board of the professors, and one of them talks very subtly to her, and he says to her, "What would you like to do?" She says, "Well, I would like to go to university and become a professor." And he says to her, "Well, that's very nice. That's very noble." And he said, he said, "It's good for you to be a teacher, but maybe you should teach elementary school, because the way we speak, he said, listen to your accent compared to mine. He said, the way we speak is a matter of refinement that has taken many generations to achieve. It's best probably that you wait and you just teach high school, not university. I couldn't believe what I was listening to. I don't know who wrote this thing. I don't know how they have such a knowledge of Italian society at that time, but I would say bravo, bravo, bravo to the incredible staff, the actors, the actresses of My Brilliant Friend. And this concludes tonight's Cooking with Michael episode. The dish is some melange of Argentinian red prawns, chicken apple sausage, and gnocchi with a beautiful, very garlicky, oregano-y sauce. And I was going to go into this. I'll do this as a whole separate thing. People keep writing me and saying, why don't you update the political zoo? All right, it's a good idea. It's very tough to do these things, to be honest with you. You can't just do it. You know, it's like that show. I mean, things take time when they're good. Anyone can knock out a political hack book. Just look at Sean Hannity. So I published this book. People still love it. I don't know the year. 2006. And I did satires of some of the top people in the world at the time. Barbara Boxer, George Bush, Robert Byrd, Jimmy Carter, James Carville. That schmuck is still around. And they're quoting him like, this lizard, there's a human lizard, James Carville. Every day, James Carville says this, like he's an elder statesman. He has as much statesmanship as Al Sharpton. You know the difference between them and a monkey is they use a toilet and the monkey doesn't. James Carville, Dick Cheney's in here, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, George Clooney. Let's see who else is still around. Maureen Dowd, Dianne Feinstein dead, Newt Gingrich dead, Ruth Ginsburg dead, Rudy Giuliani. What they're doing to him is a crime. It's a crime what they're doing to Rudy. Al Gorleone, Jesse H. Jackson, Kim Jong-un, John Kerry, that bastard's in here. Larry King, may rest in peace, dead. Rush Limbaugh, dead, may rest in peace. Bill Maher, a fraud, a phony, a bum, a mook, an HBO faker. Nancy Pelosi, Sean Penn. Who else is in here who's still living? I don't know. Chuck Schumer's in here. Al Sharpton, George Soros is in here. Wow, who else? Howard Stern. Howard Stern is the kind of Jew who brought about Hitler. That's what I think of him. It was that kind of pornographic Jew, Howard Stern, who made the Germans hate Jews. The Jews were well accepted in Germany before that. And then they got out of hand in the 1920s with Howard Stern types, with pornography. And the people started to have a distaste for Jews. So Howard Stern is in here, that low-life scumbag. Howard Stern, Schlocko Jocko. Schlocko Jocko with the wig. Say, what are you going on the wig? He's a 70-some-odd-year-old Jew. Who has hair like that unless it's a wig? This colorful, gangly creature is a mutant strain of the Long Island parrot, or LIP species, bred accidentally on one of the island's many toxic waste sites. The LIP, the lip, has an uncanny ability to mimic the most vile comments that it hears and play them back with an added layer of verbal sewage. Preferring to jabber only early in the morning, the LIP spends the rest of its day scavenging the New York City waste system for new tidbits to repeat for its next morning's appearance. Although the sewer spewer boasts that he cannot be tamed, his vision is impaired to the fact that he is the favorite pet of global media monkeys who quietly program his every spontaneous syllable. Now, remember when I wrote this, and he just had the fraud of frauds on the other day, Comedian Harris. Was I wrong when I wrote this in 06? No, I wasn't wrong. So in bed last night, before I went to sleep, I came up with some new ones. And I said, why don't you start thinking of a new version? I said, what would you call Harris? I said, fake as cackless. What would you call Biden? Senilus blonius. What would you call Jamie Raskin? Despicabilis gerbilis. So I'm starting. And that's all I have to say about the sewer pipe of the left wing today. And I'll have more to say at another time. In the meantime, today is what, Thursday? Sunday, I'll have a new God Talk, God willing, for my healingwheelsociety.org. I already have a plan for what I'm going to talk about on the God Talk Sunday. But I'm going into a dark, dark phase right now because I told you, I'm a very ancient man. In fact, I was going to write a new autobiography, which I'm never going to write. I've done 2 of them. And it was going to be called Antique Man, which is a play on words. My father was an antique dealer. But I am an antique man. I'm from another world. I don't pretend to be from this time. I am not from this time. I'm an antique. I agree. I don't care. Call me an antique. I'm proud of it. I collect antiques. They're beautiful. They're classical. I was going to call it Antique Man, and new stories, new memories are coming back to me that I kind of forgot. They're not in psychological nudity or savage life. But I'm not going to write it. There's no market for that kind of stuff. You know, the age of the book is over. Unless it's an expose of some horse shit about some celebrity or a candidate who did this, took a schmuckler out in the classroom. I don't know. There's no one wants to read anymore. They're illiterate. They go on television. What do they need to read for? If you write that the Schmender took out a schmeckler somewhere in a hallway and they caught him, then they'll buy the book. But otherwise, books are dead. Hold it a minute before I say goodnight. I've been with you 41 minutes. The wine is delicious. I hope you have enjoyed the program. Please go to whatever, the like button. Tell your friends about it. I'm still seriously shadow blocked, even by X. You know, and I know, there should be millions of people listening to me. You know that. At the peak of my radio show, I was the 3rd largest show without any agent, no connection to the Hannity group, run by Rush Limbaugh's brother. God bless him. David Limbaugh controlled talk radio at that time, and they wanted me off the air. And here I am. I'm still doing my stuff. If Trump loses, you'll never see me again. They'll ban X, and they'll ban YouTube like this. So you better get it while you can. Drink it all in while you can. And I have shifted gears to a post-political landscape with the healingwheelsociety.org. I think that even the communists won't touch the religious groups, not directly, not immediately. It'll take them a number of years before they close down the churches and the synagogues like they did in Bolshevik Russia. They'll get to it. They'll get to it eventually, but not for a while. So whatever time I have on the earth, you know, it's up to the big guy in the sky, not me. I'm going to do Healing Wheel. We're going to have wonderful things and stuff. And that's where you can find me, other than on, if you don't know how to find that, you go to michaelsavage.com, which you all know how to find. In the top left, there's always going to be a link to healingwheel.org, period. So this Sunday, I have a new sermon. We have new videos, new links going up. We welcome you to listen. And until we see you again, this is Michael Savage saying, hang in there, because the going's going to get very rough over the next few weeks. We're coming down to the finish line, and they've not yet pulled their October surprise. They've tried a few. None of them have worked. They're going to keep escalating. Judge Raskin, whatever her name is, Sharadskin, they've tried everything. They're not through yet. They're not through. There's another one coming. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening. May God be with you. And that's it. Now I got to find, this is another site I'm on. I got to find how to stop it. So help me God, it's not easy. I got to literally find the stop button on this one. Okay, not easy, folks. The only thing I can do to stop this is pick it up and put it in my hands because I can't find the button. I'll tell you the truth, not easy. Okay, I don't mind handheld. Handheld is good. I should have an assistant. I had an assistant for 20 years. He's no longer with me. I do everything alone, as you can see, which is why things are a little chaotic. Okay, I'm doing cooking, and I honestly cannot find the X button on this cooking video. I'll press the video, and there's no stop button. So, all right, folks, honestly, I can't find it. I just can't find the way to stop this. Oh, here it is. Thank you. It's not on YouTube or on X directly. It's on another site. Here it is. All right. Are you sure you want to end the stream? Folks, thank you so much for your support. God bless America and pray for Donald Trump. Okay.